Hi guys! In this video, I'm going to talk about SitStand desks. And yes, of course, I will cover the positive things like how they can prevent injuries and how they can help you actually heal injuries. But then I'm also going to look at why and how they can sometimes contribute to you getting a sports injury or running injury. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Maryke. I'm one of the physiotherapists from sportsinjuryphysio.com, where you can get online physiotherapy assessment as well as treatment for your injuries. Have a look at the description of this video if you want a link to our website. Okay, so let's think about SitStand desks and how they can help prevent injuries. We all know by now, if you've read the news in the last few years, that sitting all day is really bad for you. And it's not just bad for your circulation, it's bad for your heart, it's bad for your muscles that you sit on the whole time. So if we think of our bodies, they were made to move. So if we're sitting for a very long time, pretty much still the whole time, it doesn't really count if you just stand up for a moment to go make a cup of tea. It still counts as sedentary, just sitting all the time if you do short breaks. Then there are certain parts of your body that takes more strain. So let's assume for a moment your setup when sitting is perfect. So your back is well supported and everything with that. Then you're still putting all the pressure through your buttocks and your sit bones. And what I tend to find is, one, the high hamstring tendons can become really irritated and sore. Two, people can develop glute pain from it, and then lower back pain as well as part of that. So a sit-stand desk is brilliant because if you can stand for parts of the day, that area of the body doesn't have all that pressure on it. And because it has to work to a low level, the muscles have to contract gently, it helps to improve the circulation there. Now, switching people to using sit-stand desks where they work standing up for periods in the day has also been really useful for my patients with certain type of injuries. Well, first of all, the high hamstring guys, where they have high hamstring pain or tendinopathies, definitely benefit from it because it relieves that direct pressure. But anyone with a complaint around the gluteal area that gets really tight or sore gluteal muscles or hip pain in that area, they really do well as well if you add in a bit more standing and movement through the day to help with that. Now, there's also injuries like, for instance, I've had people with calf strains and hamstring strains, and when we look at it, they're really stiff and tight around the pelvis area. And if we look at how much they sit, that's a big contributing factor. So part of that treatment is to get them into positions where their hip flexors and things can stretch a bit and everything can just move a little bit better. But now, like with everything, too much of a good thing is also not that good. So I have had people in the past where they've gone, well, sitting all day is bad for me, so now I'm going to stand all day. And then they run into trouble as well. Because guess what? Standing upright in pretty much one position for 8 to 12 hours is also not good for you. And they can get issues where their lower backs can hurt, their feet can hurt. And that's an important thing as well. If you're going to stand upright working, and especially if you're working on a hard surface or standing on a hard surface, your feet may take strain. So I've had people develop plantar fasciitis because they're suddenly standing so much. So make sure that you wear supportive shoes and have a nice soft surface underneath you if you're going to be standing for periods of time. And also, don't go from sitting all day to standing all day. Just add in 20 minutes per hour, 4 or 5 times in the day. That should be more than enough as a starting position. And you shouldn't aim to get to 100% standing the whole day. It should be a mix of the two because bodies likes changes in movement and changes in position. But then something that's really important for how standing and working can contribute to overuse injuries and sports injuries, like with running, is if you think of how standing impacts the recovery of your legs. So if you've just done a hard training session and now you go and stand for 8 hours or even just 3 or 4 hours in the day while working, your legs may not get enough recovery before the next training session. So I want you to think about your work week and how much you stand during that period as part of your training plan as well. So for instance, if you've done a long run in the day, it's not the time to go and stand for the rest of the day working as well. Sitting would be a good idea there. Of course, little bits of standing would be okay, but less standing, more sitting. Same thing, if you've just done a really high intensity workout like a hill session or sprint session, again, standing a lot in that day may not be the best way to recover. It may be better if you do a bit more sitting in that day. So maybe look at your training plan that you've got for the week and see where's your natural high intensity periods for your training, and make those low intensity periods for standing and working, and rather stand more in the periods where you don't do that much intense training. Hope that makes sense, because I've talked myself into confusion now. But yeah, so the take-home message is SitStand Desk, brilliant for preventing injuries, brilliant tool to help heal some injuries that's related to sitting for long periods, or that where you take the pressure immediately. But then also, if you do too much and you don't support your feet well, or you do it after hard training sessions for too much, it may actually contribute to injuries as well. Brilliant. Let me know if you've got any questions, but if you need more help with an injury, you're welcome to consult one of us via video call. The link is in the description of this video. Take care.